grew up here in the Midwest, and I've lived some other places, but it's very important to stay where you're from. I'm born in Alton, grew up in Wood River, went to high school at East Alton Wood River Community High School, and people really identify with that, and I think that's a big deal locally. Handshakes and face-to-face, I think, is kind of what makes, especially the River Bend, but these Midwest communities go, and I think it's important to have those connections. And I didn't always have that connection to my city when I was growing up. I was not in need, but we grew up, I was very fortunate to have been poor at one point, and you learn a lot and you grow from that. And my father worked at Laclede Steel for 20 years, and then Laclede Steel shut down. And my mother worked in cafeterias at different grade schools, and we didn't necessarily have what everyone else had, but from that you learn a lot. But you also get like a mindset, and that mindset is like an acceptance that I, at a young age as a child, was going to end up in a service industry or a laborer or a profession that I was only surrounded by. I knew no different. And then in 2001, my father loses his job at Laclede, and I'm a sophomore in high school, and I don't have a clue if you guys had kids who have been sophomores in high school. I went to school with your kids, and it was a weird time, because that was the first time I knew financially just how in trouble we were. And what had happened was the high school, and Linda McNeese, who if you guys know her personally, she was a counselor at the high school for, well, forever. And she reached out to my family, and we didn't ask. And alongside a guy named Joe Parmentier, and Joe Parmentier has been a real mentor to me in a way. I grew up playing ball, and I'm probably the biggest guy you've seen all day. And they came to my family and they said, hey, we understand you're struggling, Fred. Probably called me Man Fred, that's my legal name. He says, we know you're struggling. He says, here is $200 of Walmart gift cards to help your family. Oh my gosh, for the holidays. So you don't realize at the time that people value you outside your family when you're such a young kid. So it hit me. And there are a handful of times in your life when I personally feel that you realize you've changed your mindset on something. You changed your way of thinking. You're no longer even going to be compliant with what's given. You think you can achieve more, and you think you can help, and that's what happened to me. So Linda McNeese, God bless her heart, she sets me up and helps my family one time, and I go to Linda immediately after the holiday, and I say, oh, by the way, I have this tremendous plastic surgery that you guys don't know anything about. I was at home for months, and she came to my house every single day and brought me homework and kept me up to pace. I keep up with all the kids, just above and beyond, and a real important person. So I say, Linda, what can I do? How do I help people the way you help people? And keep in mind, I'm 16 years old and just got my driver's license. She says, well, first of all, you got to meet the right people, and you got to reach out. And she set me up with a guy named Otto Rice. Otto Rice ran the Park and Rec in Wood River, and God rest his soul. But he gave me my first job, umpiring baseball, youth baseball, and set me up with Joe and Charlie Coons with the Rotary and what they were doing, and just put me in the right places. And would I have necessarily gone there on my own? I don't know. Would I have ended up like, and I'm not saying anything negative about anyone, but if I had taken my own path, would I have been here? Absolutely no. So Linda sets me up with the Rotary and Charlie and Joe, and they're doing a scholarship, and it's, kids who are in need, kids who need help, and I needed help, and it was a tough thing to recognize. And with this scholarship, doing stuff with the Rotary, he had to reach different tiers, and there was different accomplishments, and it was laid out for me, and here's what you got to do. And I think there were some other kids who maybe applied for it, and I don't necessarily know their situations, but I mean, I knocked it out the park, right? So I get the scholarship, and it's for a couple grand or whatever it was, and it was like the first time at a very young age where I'd laid out a plan, and I'd executed that plan. And that sense of pride, that sense of like accomplishing something, well, I didn't get that from calling safe and out at first bake, and I didn't get that from flipping burgers at King Louie's. So I took a lot from that, and I held on to that moment for, gosh, a long time, just years. And so now I'm out of high school, and I'm going to go to junior college. Let me start over. 2001. I'm a junior in high school. And that happens, and it's literally the worst thing that's ever happened. And there are these recruiters, and there's these influences, and they're there the next day. They're literally in your face, and you need to do these things. and go another path, you're getting pulled in another direction. And I felt like all these kids were, I'm not a unique story, and working with the Rotary and the scholarship opportunity and what you can do, helping people was a big draw. And it was not join them, it was go to junior college and find a way to use this opportunity that Joe and Charlie and you guys gave me, and I did that for 2 years at Lewis and Clark, and I started to dabble, started to broadcast, called some high school football games, had a lot of fun, but I was going to be a teacher because I didn't know any different. When you're so young, the only way you know how to help is the ways that you have been helped. So I go to school, and it's good, and I'm 19/20, living with a young lady, and I had it all figured out, and this was the plan, but like most 19/20 years old, I did not have it all figured out. So we go our separate paths, and the only thing I can think to do with my life is just leave. I just gotta go. I am heartbroken. I cannot stay in the Riverbend area. I'm gonna move to California because I flipped a coin. And so I get in the car at 20 years old, and I go to my mom, and I go, Mom, I'm just gonna go. And then I went, and first night I stayed in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and that's like spending a whole month in one night, and it was scary and no clue. And I did that for like 2 years, guys. Phoenix and Bakersfield and Modesto and San Francisco, and you find couches, and I was doing jobs off Craigslist, like helping people move, and I had no idea what was going on. It was I would not recommend it to anyone, but I'm a big, strong guy, and I thought that was the plan. So I was on hiatus. I was lost, literally lost. And this is 2007. So you don't have GPS on your phone. You don't have a clue what you're doing. And so I come back to St. Louis for a wedding. I'm going to be the best man in a guy's wedding. Kid I grew up with, kid I love. And I meet a young lady, and at the time she was not my wife, but we figured that out. I knew what she was going to be, and she said, "Hey, you're a bit of a vagabond. You're a bit of a nomad. So why don't we?" She lived in Montana. She says, "Why don't you come to Montana, and we'll figure it out." Okay, good. So I moved to Montana, which if you've ever lived in Montana, you don't do that. A couple months later, in one engagement, we moved to Washington. Now I'm at Washington State University. Go Cougs, it's a Pac-12 school. Couldn't be more proud to have gone there. And I'm still pursuing it. I'm gonna be a teacher. That's what I'm gonna do. And it's 2008 now, and I'm literally sitting in front of my Facebook, or might have been MySpace, but I feel like it was Facebook, and I see it come across my feed from every single person that I have any sort of respect for in the whole world. Auto Rice has passed. And I wasn't here, I was there. And it puts like a shot through you. It puts like you're my first job. You know, it puts it. I got goosebumps right now. Auto Rice has passed, and I'm broke. I'm 22, going on broke, and I can't come back, and I got to stay at school, and I'm sad, and it's like a void. It's like an emptiness. And I talked to you about that moment earlier, that moment when I knew I was going to change what I was doing, my mindset, and it happened again. I wasn't going to be a teacher. I was going to be a civil servant. I was going to find a way to get into the community, because then I could help more people, just like Auto Rice helped so many people. So Washington State's done. Let's hit the brakes. I'm not a teacher anymore. Finished up the semester. Time to come back to St. Louis. We get back to St. Louis. Just a young, dumb 20-year-old kid, or well, I was probably 23 by then, 24. And can't just go to SAUE. You got to be in state. You have to pay out-of-state tuition. I lived in California and Washington, so I'm in the area for about a year and start broadcasting in real heavy. Broadcasting prep athletics and college stuff, and I'm doing PA for the baseball team at SAU, and I'm having a ton of fun. And now I'm back in school, and I need a degree though, and they don't have a sports management degree, and they don't have like a park or recreation option, so I'll just get history. That seems easy. I'll figure that out. So I have a historical studies degree from SIUE. First member of my family to 3 generations as far back as I can find with a college degree, which is because of the Rotary. I mean, no BS. They just figuratively kicked me in the butt and put me in the right direction. And you know, my brother's a garbage man. He's great. He's got 2 beautiful kids, but it's a different life. And So anyway, so I'm at SAUE and I'm done, and I've been doing things periodically with the Park and Rec. I like the people there. My boss, Jason Woody's a real good guy. I work alongside some kids I grew up with that are now adults and real good people, and that's exciting. But in the back of your mind, it's always that auto rise thing, isn't it? It's that you go back to where you're from, and I'm volunteering, I'm doing events, and I'm helping seasonally, and it's awesome. And then when the degree comes through, which was just a couple of years ago, 2012, Jason, when he says, let's do this, let's create a position for you to help you, and will allow you to continue broadcasting. I've now gone from the collegiate level to the professional level, where I broadcast for the St. Louis Ambush, and now I run the pool, and I help out a lot. And just kind of real quick in conclusion, last summer I gave this girl, young kid, she's 15, I gave her her first job. She's selling candies at the aquatic center, and maybe it's not her, maybe I don't impact her that way. But the idea that throughout the course of however long I do this, and I hope to do it for a long time, maybe I reach someone like Auto Rice reached me, you know, or maybe I help someone in a way that they think that it's okay for them to help other people. And then you find those organizations like you guys who, I'm sure you guys get patted on the back a lot, who help the community and the surrounding communities in the Riverbend area so much. Like, just give back and put people in the right direction. And if I can be an example of that, if any of the kids you give, if any of the children that you've given degrees to or opportunities to since me, if they can go on and be just, I don't know, a quarter as happy as I am, well, then you're doing the right thing. So I very much appreciate you, Joe. I very much appreciate what Charlie did. I very much appreciate the Rotary. If you guys know Linda McNeese, just reach out to her. She's helped thousands of kids. If you can help kids and be part of the community, I think you're doing a good thing. So I appreciate you guys, and thank you. Thank you, Brad, for having me. It was a big deal. I know you probably got questions about the pool. Yeah, it's going to open. We'll be fine. Yeah, I got tickets to the Ambush. If you guys want to go, it's gonna be good. But no, thank you in all seriousness. I do appreciate every single one of you. And if you need anything from me, my office is always open. Sometimes it's the secretary there, but she can get a hold of me. So, thank you.